good evening, good all the things, good everything. Hi, what's going on? I am Katie Brannon, and this is Tea Time True Crime with Katie, where we talk about all things true crime for from high profile cases to obscure cases, which is my absolute favorite. Hello, new subscribers. Oh my gosh. Hi, I am so happy that you're here. And True Crime Kitty Cats, you are the best. So if you went on my TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube, you have seen that I'm going to be doing a giveaway. Woo! Yes, a giveaway. And I am so excited because my partner personally picked out these crystals and I cannot wait to give them a home. Okay. So what you got to do is share my YouTube, add me on Instagram. Yep. Add me on Insta. Check out my TikTok and basically share my page, because what I'm trying to do is if I get to 1,000 followers by the end of February, a giveaway is happening. Okay. And, this is what I'm giving away. So this is an amazing, beautiful, clear quartz crystal. And I don't know about you, but clear quartz is, you gotta have. Any crystal that you have in your home, you have a clear quartz next to that crystal and it amplifies. So whatever that crystal you have lying around, it just makes the, like the energy just so much bigger. It's good vibes. So this beautiful needs a home. Yes. Another one that my partner picked out is the one and only. If you have a lot of love in your heart, or if you need love, you're gonna need a beautiful rose quartz. So this is like a beautiful pale pink rose quartz. The light, it's so bright, you guys, that it's not really doing this crystal justice. It's actually a very pretty pale pink. So when I am live on TikTok, I'll show you better. But these have been saged. They're going to be saged again before they leave my home. And they are going to go into very beautiful, deserving homes. So yes, guys, just share. We need to have exposure. We need to get big, guys. We need people to hear our stories. We need people to hear their stories, some stories that have never even been heard before. So let's do it. Just share my page. And then at the end of February, when I get over 1,000 followers, I'm giving away stuff. And I am super, super excited. And yeah, do those things. And then when you're done on my Instagram or TikTok, comment on my latest video. Or you just send me a message on YouTube, whatever's good for you. Just send me an emoji of the gem emoji and your astrological sign. Do that. And then we're going to do a giveaway. Yay! All the good vibes, guys. All the good vibes. Good luck. Keep sharing. And let's get on to today's story, because even though I'm talking about good vibes and energy, this is bad vibes. We're going to go to Sad Town. We're going to talk about someone who literally, this just sounds like it's a movie. Warning, this podcast is viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to be talking about betrayal, cheating, murder, and just not good vibes. So, but as always, I am sending you positivity and a good time. So, my true crime kitty cats, if you're ready, let's get to it. Candy Williams was this wonderful woman. It seems like when I was studying her. Candy Williams was a stage 3 colon cancer survivor. She actually had this cancer, you guys, when she was like young. I believe it was just her 20s. Yeah, that's very young to have colon cancer. So when she survived and went into remission, she decided to move to Florida to be closer to her parents. Makes sense. So Candy really wanted a partner, a significant other, that she actually tried online dating. Now, as she tried online dating, she realized she was very vulnerable and she didn't want to do that type of, for her personal life. She wasn't ready to jump out there, especially in the internet world of dating. So, we're going to talk about how Candy is just walking on the beach and she just passed this guy. And he automatically, when they pass each other, he looks back and he smiles and she smiles at him. And there's definitely some attraction there. So she explains that she's walking, but out of nowhere, a storm comes out of nowhere on the beach. So she goes to the nearest beach bar and grabs like a margarita. And I assume, just looking at the storm take his course. It's not like a crazy hurricane storm. It's just a regular storm, okay? So she realizes that the guy is not that far from her, and he smiles at her, she smiles at him, and he starts sitting next to her. And he introduced himself as Jovan Collier. Also, people's like, call me Joe. And she introduced herself as Candace Williams, call her Candy. Seems innocent enough, right? So when they start talking, they realized they had a lot of stuff in common. He had some sad stories. He talked about his divorce and he showed his child to Candy, and she talked about what she's been through. So it's kind of like a weird kind of trauma bonding going on. Now, Candy would like open up to him, and there was definitely a kiss. There were sparks, she said. So it went rather quickly. They started seeing each other. Things started being okay. She said within I think a few months in their relationship, they actually moved in together. So it's very serious. But she realizes that he hasn't got any mail. Yeah, he moved in with Candy and he has not received any mail. So she is just like, where's your mail? And he just had some kind of weird excuse, and she believed him because she had no reason not to believe him. And so she lets it go until she goes in his truck one day and notices a whole bunch of mail, wrapped in a rubber band inside his vehicle. And she is furious, you guys. She grabs the mail, throws it at him, and was like, "You lied to me." And she does not want to be lied to, which, fair, yeah. It hurts to be lied to. So he immediately says, no, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you. My ex-wife wants me back. So I have a P.O. box. So I would hide the letters from you because I didn't want to upset you. Now, she began to forgive him because it seemed very small. But guys, the lies, they just kept on coming. All right, now Peter Zimmer. We're going to talk about him later, so keep that psycho in your head, okay? So back to Jovan Joe Collier. He was, I believe, 37 years old at the time, and at the time of all this happening is 2000s and 2007, around that area, so early 2000s. So they're having a really good relationship and everything. And this relationship is portrayed on the famous investigation Discovery Channel, Web of Lies. I know this is going to be in the folder on the playlist of YouTube for a Web of Lies episode. Okay, so Jovan and Candy are living it up. It's going very well. She is a teacher. On the show, they portray her as a kindergarten teacher, but as I did my research and looked up articles, she was a second grade teacher, and she loved her kids. She loved her job. So they're doing really good. And then, finally, she's kind of thinking, he hasn't really opened up about his past. He knows a lot about her. So it was very weird. He was very shady about his past, which don't judge. Sometimes you don't want to talk about it, But then they talked about it through online, and he claimed, sadly, that his adoptive parents were deceased. And not only they were deceased, but they passed away in a car accident. They were killed by a drunk driver. I know. That's really sad, right? And he said that he was in the car and that the body, he tried to save his dad, but then he grabbed his mother out of the car and she died in his arms. So, yeah, that's pretty traumatic stuff. Not gonna lie, that's traumatic. So Candy is just worried and dumbfounded, and she feels awful. Like, she felt absolutely terrible that this was even happening, okay? But her family, I mean, they seemed really sweet and nice family. Her mom and dad, they're extremely close, and they decided that when there was Christmas, that the mother on his Christmas presents would write "Love, Mom." I know. That is such a very, very sweet sentiment. Yeah. After that, out of nowhere, she had no idea what had happened, because one day when she came home after work, there were thousands and thousands of post-it notes all over her house. And they said words that were like, "It's too hard for me." And then there were post-its in her shoes that said, "Don't look for me." Now, Candy is just dumbfounded. She doesn't even know how this happened, what even happened, okay? Like, at all. So she goes and calls Joe. He disconnected his phone. And then, you guys, Joe disappears without any rhyme or reason. 2 years later, yeah, guys, 2. 2 years later, she actually gets a message from Joe. He calls her, and she is just like, she hangs up. She picks up, and she's about to hang up because she does not want to hear from him because he literally disappeared. She hasn't heard from him in years. But Candy has a soul, and she hears him out. And before you judge her, you guys, they're not dating again. Don't worry. So he starts to have this excuse that, I'm really sorry about what happened. I can explain, and everything like that. And of course, I don't want to hear it, which is every right. So he starts to explain that I found my birth parents and I've been hanging out with them for a while, and it would mean a lot to me if you would come with me to meet them. And she really didn't want to, but he was very, I guess, persuasive. And she finally was like, she really still cared about him. You don't just stop loving someone, So she was like, "Okay, well, I'll go with you, but only as friends." And okay, he's like, "Okay, that sounds great." So by the time they went to his birth parents' home, their names were Linda and Rob. Linda was a realtor, and Rob was a surgeon. Yeah, he was like a doctor. Yeah. So Rob and Linda are in a beautiful, beautiful home in Georgia, and they're really excited about having them all together because, Joe talked about how amazing, Candy is. But Candy said she felt really awkward there. Like, she felt that the family was kind of too perfect. Like, it was too normal, And she was thinking there's no way that he could have, paid a family to be like this. Which, All right. So in the middle of the meeting, you guys, in the middle of them hanging out at the table, she gets a call. She answers the phone. It's from a number she doesn't know. As soon as she answers, she like, excuse herself. Pardon me, guys. One moment. Hello? And she was like, Joe is not who he says he is. Get out of there. Now. And automatically, Candy is like, what? So what she did, you guys, she like left. She's like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I gotta go. So she bounces. And she was just thinking like, okay, this lady is gonna call me back. Because I'm pretty sure she was like, can you call me back? Okay, call me back. So Candy was waiting for this call, okay? She was waiting. And she was just so confused because she's just like, what? The call comes in. The call, yeah. Not only the call is from somebody who knew Joe, but it's somebody who knows Joe. And yes, ladies, my paranoid, beautiful ladies, this man, he is scrub. He is a total scrub, okay? That is his wife on the phone. Yeah, Candy found out that he's still married and that he pretty much abandoned his child. And she is, she's on the phone like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. So then she kind of just, I'm done. I'm so done with Joe. I'm so done. This is it. And Joe does everything he could to win Candy back. Yeah. He would send her gifts and things to just like try to be in her life, and she was just done. Like, she was like, bro, no, But then the gifts started turning menacing. Like, there will be blocked phone numbers that would call her phone, and when she would answer, like late at night, it would just be heavy breathing. And it would just scare her to no end because she felt that Joe was there. Like, he began stalking her. Like, he would literally be in the yard and she couldn't see him, but she knew he was there, kind of thing. That is like creepy. And it got so bad that when she and her mother went out to eat, that the mom actually thought that he put a GPS tracker in Candy's vehicle because he would just show up to where they are. Yeah. I mean, she said you would be at one part of the restaurant and he would just be there like all the way in the back. It's terrifying. So you're thinking, well, did Candy get a restraining order? Yeah, she did. She did. But it's just a piece of paper, not to be rude, but things get darker. So no judgment first thing, because we all do things that we think no one will not know about, especially when it comes with pictures. Candy and Joe, in the height of their relationship, were loving, and they took some naughty pictures and just some risque. I'm not sure if they were nudes or not. I don't think so, but she was, in a risque thing. And he took those pictures, you guys, and put them online and said derogatory, gross things and catfished other people with her picture. And if you're thinking like, okay, whatever, she can just tell him that's not me. It's not whatever, because he would say gross, disgusting, sexual, perverted things that it made it seem like she said. And then he would put like, I like little boys. And it's really sad because she loves her job and she could have lost her career for doing that. And it's amazing that she didn't, honestly. But I think she told, the school district what's going on. So that's good about that. But one day this man shows up on her property and she goes, hi, yeah, how can I help you? She's just like mowing the lawn. And he was like, hey. And he said something, and she's like, yes, how can I help you? And he was just like, hey, sexy. And she's like, excuse me? And he's like, we've been talking for a month. You promised me sex. And she was like, I don't know who you are. I need you to leave my property. I need you to leave my property right now. And he wasn't budging. Like, this old guy really wanted her. And she didn't know what the heck he was talking about. Yeah. Yep. Psycho. So thank goodness the police were around. I guess they're just doing rounds. And she waved a police officer down. And then he helped her. And then they got this perverted man off her property. So Candy is getting these phone calls. She's getting these weird gifts. Not only he is giving her like 30 messages a day. Some are like, I love you. Let's be together. I want to be with you. And other ones are like, I hope you effing die. Fuck you, bitch. Like, just really disgusting messages. And Candy she couldn't take it anymore. Like, it was so bad. I mean, this guy was like nuts. And when I tell you that she wasn't even the first, in fact, this psycho Joe was dating not one, but two, maybe three women at once. Yeah, so the 2 years that he was gone, he was with his wife. And then not only he was with his wife, he would put his photo on Match.com to lure women into sexual relationships. Tea break, y'all. Tea break. In my little kitty cat mug that I love so much. There's some inflammation going on, guys. So I have my turmeric honey tea tonight. I love turmeric. All right. Whoa. We're about to get into the worst part now. So, according to articles and stuff like that, what Joe would do, he would tell Candy, he would kind of like isolate her. And he actually told her that the birth parents didn't like Candy. So he would just drive a wedge between them. But when Candy called and found out herself, they didn't have a problem with her at all. In fact, they said, we haven't seen him in a year as soon as we found out about the murders. Candy's like, what murders? And the birth parents are like, we need to tell you this. So Candy, of course, is just like floored. And she's like, okay, what happened? And, they go into the story. And they're like, well, his birth parents, his adoptive parents, they passed away. And she goes, yeah, and I know that. Well, they didn't die of a car accident. And she's like, oh, okay, like, Joe isn't who he says he is. I'm going back to that now, guys. Joe is actually named Peter Zimmer. Peter Zimmer was born July 7th, 1968. And yes, that makes him a Cancer. Sadly, I could not find Candy's birthday. If anyone knows Candy's birthday, please let me know down below. I'm getting like Leo vibes from her. Totally. Anyway, so this, I was trying to figure out, because in Web of Lies, it just throws you what happened. But I wanted to do a little more digging, because, like, how could something so horrific be done by a teenage boy? I'll tell you, I'll rip the Band-Aid off. His stepmom, Sally, and Hans Zimmer, stepdad, and his 10-year-old stepbrother, Perry, were murdered horrifically. 15 times stabbing of the mother, 25 times stabbing of Perry, and there were defense wounds. The father, the stepdad, Hans, was ambushed and he was shot 5 times. Yeah. Peter Zimmer was only 14 years old when he just annihilated his family. And he only got 3.5 years in prison. Yeah, that was in like 1980s, 1982. Yeah, 3.5 years. They thought he was ready and juveniled and good to go. Yeah. It is horrific because like before Candy found out about that, there was a time where Joe stalked her so bad that she was at a dinner with like coworkers or friends and she was trying to go to the bathroom and he pulls a knife on her, threatening her for them to be together. He even goes on his knee and proposes for marriage. And she, my goodness, this kick-ass woman, I think she kicked him or something and got away and said, "I gotta go. Joe has a knife. He's here." Yeah. But you're wondering, well, what are the police doing? Stalking laws back at that time were not like how they are today. And they didn't do anything. So when she found out about the murder of the family, she couldn't even like believe it. It was too much for her. On the happy part of their relationship, we're going to go backwards. Remember when I told you at Christmas time that her mother wrote "Love Mom" on the Christmas packages? Well, during that Christmas, her favorite animal is a pig, a cute little piggy. And he got her this beautiful, it looked like a little, I don't think it was diamond, but it was some blinged out pig brooch. And it was really cute. And he got it for her, and it was an awesome Christmas present. Okay, stop. Now you know that. Let's fast forward. Okay. So she is just floored when she finds out about this. And you're wondering, well, how could someone have that much rage? Honestly, the only thing I could find out, you guys, is something it's not minuscule, but I feel like anyone who has moved from home to home, especially teenagers, I mean, we moved a lot when we were a family. Like, people thought we were in the military, and we're not. So Peter did not want to move at all from Illinois. They moved to Wisconsin for a job. Like, Hans was an airplane mechanic. They were from Germany, and Sally, very intelligent woman. They, in the summer of 1968, wanted to adopt, and that's when they adopt Peter. But the birth mother really wanted to name her son Paul. And the reason why the birth mother gave Peter up was when he was just a newborn, she was just, unwed, and she was a teenage mom, and she didn't know what to do, and she felt extreme guilt. Like, she did not want to give up her child, but she knew that it would be the best thing for him. But that's kind of insane because the child turned out to be a psycho. Yeah, it's sad. Like, once you want to, find your son, or, and then you find out what a friggin' psycho he is, that like hurt me a little bit. So the reason why the birth parents found out about this was they got kind of tired of him like scheming and lying, and they just knew something wasn't right. So they hired a private investigator, and that's how they found out. Yeah. Sorry. So the reason why he did it was, I did find out from comments and some random information that Hans may have abused Peter. Which, I don't know how the abuse is, but that could explain it. But then I also read that, okay, Hans abused, kill him. Why did you have to kill Sally and a 10-year-old stepbrother? Like, what did a 10-year-old ever do to you? And it was brutal, you guys. Like, this little 10-year-old was hiding under the bed, and then Peter just grabbed him, pulled him out from under the bed and just started stabbing him. And the poor kid is holding his hands up, trying to stop the stabbing. There's major defense wounds. It's absolutely awful. Which, how the hell did he get 3.5 years? I don't even know. But I did look that up for you, because back in the 1980s, Wisconsin, there literally was like the juvenile law. It was just juvenile. They believe that kids can be rehabilitated. But after the murder of the family annihilator, because of Peter, the law actually changed in Wisconsin. Now you can be 14 years old and can be charged as an adult. But back then, he only was charged as a child. Yeah. I mean, he should have got help too. He should have got literally psychological help, and he did not. He made friends, and he had this really good friend in Wisconsin, and he's 14 years old. So after he murders his family, he calls his friend. They want to go to California, and his friend is really kind of freaked out because he's not on this vibe at all. This kid just killed his parents. What? So Peter stole credit cards, stole his dad's car. Yeah, he doesn't even have a license and he's 14. And they go and drive and find a place to stay at a hotel. Now, the hotel desk clerk is very confused. Why is this kid checking in? And he was trying to, again, con his way into getting a room. And the hitchhiker, basically the kid / hitchhiker, was the one he picked up because he made friends. It's weird. It's very mixed stories about this, but the fact is there was another boy with him, and when the hotel clerk was asking questions, Peter was basically saying, "Oh, I'm a hitchhiker, and these are my cards. My dad said I can use them." And then the guy was like, "No, I'm the hitchhiker. There's a lot of guns in your car." And then that was it. The police were called, and that's how he got him. But yeah, it doesn't matter because, he only had 3.5 years in prison. What? I know. It's pretty insane. So by the time he meets Candy Williams, the stalking does not stop. He broke in and broke her air conditioning of her home. He just did little annoying nuisances, and she would always feel like he was there. She never felt alone. And when things started to get better, horrific things happened. One day she received a package, and it was, oh my gosh, I would be so traumatized, you guys. Thank goodness the kids were not in the room. But between classes or maybe after school, she opens the box and she is horrified to see a dead piglet. Yeah. It wasn't a stuffed animal, you guys. He literally put a dead animal, piglet, in a box with his head cut off. Candy was, she just felt like it was a message and that she was going to die. And she was so, so scared. And there was nothing she could do because she went to the police with the information hey, I know this guy. He's not who he says he is. His name is this. Here is the actual file. He murdered his family. And you know what the police said? It looks like he did his time. He already did his time. I'm sorry, what? He already did his time? Yeah, poor Candy. Nobody listened. And while this is happening, he is living with a wife, a girlfriend. It's just, this guy was the most persuasive Casanova. I know. It's psychotic, and I hope no one is dating him because this guy sounds like a total nightmare. Psycho, okay? So Candy gets a call one day and realizes that he is, not only the messages don't stop, just her family said that it was she was in a trance, she wasn't herself during this horrible stalking time. So Candy found out that not only he murdered his family, but Peter was also being with all these other women and had not one, not two, but three children from three different women. I know. I know. I just, it's messed up. It's messed up. One day, I don't know how this happened, but the actual domestic violence service customer group, something that was close by, actually called Candy to really, really help her, and they got enough computer evidence to get him for stalking. And yeah, it was awesome, and he got like 3.5 years in prison. Yeah, I know. What is scary is that if that call didn't come, because when they did the IP address and they found these messages, 'cause she is horrified, he was already really close to Florida. He was in a hotel, I believe, in Georgia, and he was getting ready to make the drive to Candy, and he had a gun in his possession. So Candy believes that if that domestic violence call didn't help her and get her to safety, that she would not be here today. Yeah, the police arrested him. But like I said, guys, 3.5 years. What? What? I mean, yeah. There's not a lot of podcasts about this or information. I saw it on Web of Lies and I did research and I found this podcast called the Parasite Podcast, which is, I believe it's Murder of the Father. And I believe it was episode 16. And they had a lot of information, these two girls. I was like writing down. I was like, oh my goodness, this is nuts, you know? So yeah, Jovan Collier is Peter Zimmer, and at 41 years old, he got in jail for aggravated stalking for just 3.5 years. Everything about him was BS. It's the case where you really don't know who you date. And I know I'm making these women paranoid because I'm sure you meet online because that's how a lot of people meet. But they didn't meet online, They met like, I guess, how people want to meet, like a happenstance, and he had things in common, and he just seemed like a normal guy, but not normal. He's a serial cheater, and he sounds like a horrible narcissist and a murderer. So yeah, Peter Zimmerman, Peter Zimmer, we do not like your vibe. Not cool at all. So yeah, anyone on Match.com, I have his photo right here. I hope you're not dating him. I hope you're not giving him any joy because this guy needs to be locked up. I'm sorry, dude. I'm not the, judgment Judy here, but I'm a Virgo, and I realize you did so much harm to these women because not only Candy was one of the women, but she probably can never trust anyone again. She's still in Florida. Her and her mom are still very close. It's just nuts. And there was this woman in Waco, Texas, that he grew very fond of. So he just keeps going after these women. And then when something happens, he goes back. So it's like, what? Like, bro. Like, really. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching. This episode was kind of insane. Stay tuned for, I believe, a few more days. I try to do a podcast, you guys, like every 4 days. Like, I am on it. The next podcast, though, is not for everyone. And if I ever get monetized, I'll probably be demonetized. And I know I should have doing the Star Stow because that was rough, but I feel like if you don't talk about what happened to them in a very respectful manner, it's just like, what? I don't think anyone would want to die like that, but check me out next time. I'm going to be talking about the Candyman. And how this happened was when I was researching this case, because extra stalker weird alert, Joe or Peter tattooed Candyman on his forearm, saying that him and Candy should be together. Yeah, I know. And he showed her and he's like, we need to be together. And he put a knife on, he stuck a knife to her, but Candy's fine. She's good. She's a very resilient and smart woman. But unfortunately, when I was researching this case, I found out about the 1970s Candyman. And I'm telling you guys, I think he's the most evil person I have ever come across. And I don't even want to say he was a person. This is going to be a rough podcast, my next one. So this is really sad about the annihilation of a family in a brutal way. The next podcast, though, will be a different type of evil, and I'll be talking about a serial killer. So I definitely need more research on that, because there is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. A lot of podcasters won't even touch about what happened to these lost souls, but I will do my best. Okay, so definitely stay tuned for that one, and please know that you are loved and you are cherished. And check out the giveaway, guys. And we'll just see how it goes, because I love giving stuff away. I love spreading joy and cheer. And if you guys like the crystals, I will go to my favorite crystal place, the Green Cauldron. The ones who made them amazing wings over here. I got wings there. I got wings over there. I got crystals all over, guys. It's just nothing but good vibes here. And then I also shop at the Mobile Psychic Connections. Check them out. She does amazing gemstones and she's a shaman. So if you guys want something like that, let me know. She does jewelry. And yeah, okay. Definitely check me out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for the notifications. And tell me what's up. Let's talk. Love you guys. And remember, you are doing better than you think. Bye. Oh, and yeah, Javon, Peter, he's a free man. He's walking free. So, yeah, I have his picture right here. Please do not be dating him. Okay? He's scary. All right. Bye.